Okay, so today we're going to talk about parallel and perpendicular lines and how their slopes relate to each other. So parallel lines, as you probably have studied before, never intersect. So I'm going to actually pop over to Desmos really quick. And I'm going to put in two lines that will never intersect. I'm just going to make some pretty easy ones. So like maybe 2x plus 3. And I'll put in y equals 2x plus, let's do 1. And I'll even do a third one. Y is equal to 2x minus 2. So looking at these lines, let me move this screen out of here. Looking at these lines right here, you'll notice these three are parallel. They'll never intersect. So looking at the equations of those lines, the one thing that they have in common is their slope. Parallel lines never intersect because they have the same slope. Okay, so in this one, your slope is equal to 2 for every single one. Those are parallel lines. Now, perpendicular lines are a little bit more complicated. Perpendicular lines meet at a 90-degree angle, So we see perpendicular lines when we have different slopes. They obviously can't have the same slope. They have to have different slopes. But I might think this. I might think, well, I think that the slopes are opposite of each other. So I'm going to put a negative in front. When you look there, you can probably see that those two lines aren't meeting at a 90-degree angle. So to be perpendicular, the lines are going to have to meet at a 90-degree angle and form that 90-degree angle. So not only are their slopes opposite, but they're actually the opposite reciprocal. So my opposite, when I say reciprocal, means that like in this one, my slope is 2 over 1. Well, the reciprocal, so 2 over 1, if I do the reciprocal, it's going to become 1 over 2. So they are opposite. It has to be negative instead. It's going to be an opposite slope. It can't be the same direction. It's going to be the opposite. So it's going to now be negative, but it's now going to be 1/2 instead. 1/2. Now those meet in a 90-degree angle. So opposite reciprocal slopes. So for example, if I had, and let me put that down here, opposite in sign. So if your this is like the sign. If your sign was negative, now you have a positive slope. We have a positive slope with our 2, so now it becomes negative. That's what I mean by opposite. And also they are reciprocals, which literally is a fancy word for switching them. Okay, so if I have, I'm going to come up with a different example. If I have a slope of -3 for my line, and I want to find the slope that is perpendicular to that, well, I would take the opposite sign. So now it's going to become positive. And I know you don't have to put the positive. I'm just showing the switch. Positive, and this would be like a 3 over 1. So this becomes 1/3. 1/3. That would be both opposite and reciprocal. Okay, so we're going to explore, actually, I'm going to go straight to your practice. That's what I decided I'm going to do for today, is actually look at your practice. If you guys ever have this where you zoom in and you're like, oh, I still can't really see what's going on, which that's not today's work. Let me zoom out a little bit. Let's go down to Friday. If you zoom in and you're like, oh, I still don't really know what's going on here, I hope you know you can click on here and it will take you directly to that problem in the book if it's easier to see. I'm going to work off of this because I can see it for now. It says Robert believes that the line graphed is at right are perpendicular, but Mario has not been convinced. What is the slope of each line? How do you know whether they are perpendicular or not? So in this one, I would definitely plug in points for this. And you know what? I actually have to go to the book because that line, that's a really little graph. So I am going to go to the book to show you guys. So on this one, I have, it's here, let me move it down a little bit. So there it is. I can zoom in a little bit more to get it. I'm going to find the slope, or I'm going to find the equation of the line instead. Well, this one right here, the one that has the negative slope, it definitely has this as the equation. Y is equal to, so I'll call it line number 1, okay? Line number 1 right here has y equals, well, this point right here is my y-intercept. You know how we have mx plus b? Well, I know now in this one that my b is 4. It goes through at positive 4. But I need to look at the slope too. So my slope, well, it goes through that point right there. So I go down 1, 2, 3 over 2. Down 3 minus 3 over 2. That's my slope. Y is equal to down 3 over 2x plus 4. That's the equation of my first line. I'm going to compare it side by side to my second line. Okay, line number 2. Well, we have same thing, y equals mx plus b. And in this one, it looks like my y-intercept is actually 0. 0. Okay, so my y-intercept is 0. But then my slope is up 1 over 1, 2. Up 1 over 2, because it goes through that point. Up 1 over 2. So my slope, I have y is equal to up 1, positive 1 over 2x. So now what we're doing is we're actually comparing these two slopes. If they are perpendicular, then these two slopes would be opposite reciprocals. Well, they are opposite. This is negative, this is positive, but you'll notice that they're not reciprocals of each other. The reciprocal of negative 3/2 is 2/3. The reciprocal of 1/2 is 2 over 1. So no, not perpendicular. Okay, these are not perpendicular. So that's number 1 on your homework assignment for tonight. So 3-32. I'm going to do another one. You have 4 total, so it's not too many, but I wanted to do this one because this next one has you actually graph these lines. Feel free to use Desmos on this one. That's what I'm going to do. You can always do it on paper, but I prefer Desmos, and it also kind of gets you prepared. Let me go in. That was Delta Math. Here's Desmos. Back to Desmos, where I was earlier. It actually gets you prepared for having it on any kind of state test as well. So here's the assignment. It says we're going to be comparing this first one and the second one. So to begin with, there's actually 2 things we're going to do. We're going to compare line A and B, and then we're going to compare line B and C. Okay, so that's what it's asking you to do for here. What is the relationship between A and B, and how about between B and C? So in this first one, I have y is equal to 1/3 x, and I'm writing this down so that when I go over to Desmos, I can actually see it, plus 4. My B line is y is equal to negative 3x plus 4. And then here I'm going to be comparing that same one, negative 3x plus 4. And then C is y is equal to negative 3x minus 2. You guys might already see the relationship between them just by comparing the slopes, but I want you to visually see it, and then you'll actually put the visual into your work there. So I'm going to go over to the Desmos, and I'm going to graph the first 2. So I have y is equal to, sorry, I should have come, 1 divided by 3x, then I have plus 4. Then my second line is y is equal to negative 3x plus 4. Okay, it asks what you notice about this. Well, if you look on here, my slopes are opposite and the reciprocal, opposite in sign, and then 1 over 3 is the reciprocal of 3 over 1. So these 2 lines are perpendicular. When you explain that, you'll say these are perpendicular, or you can take a picture of the graph and then just write underneath it perpendicular. Okay, so now we're comparing B and C. When we look at B and C, so I'm going to actually get rid of A because I don't want that one anymore, and I'm going to add another one. So this is now B, and now I'm going to add y is equal to negative 3x minus 2. Well, those 2 lines will never intersect because they have the same slope. These 2 lines are parallel to each other. Parallel to each other. Okay, so I've gotten you a good head start here on your homework. You just have a couple more problems. It looks like, I think it was 2 more, right? So we've done the first 2. You're looking at this number 69 and 95, and then you will be done. And those are both having to do with the parallel and perpendicular lines.